Hey y'all, Hoff here. It's been about a month since I visited my mom, and now that I'm back, she has changed her cookie jar. She likes to do seasonal decorations, but it needs a little bit of help refilling it. So today I'm going to show you how I made mega hot chocolate chip cookies and how to turn them into ice cream sandwiches for the ultimate dessert. I'm going to start by measuring out my flour and other dry ingredients in here. So this is going to call for 3 cups of my flour here. So having done calculations on that, I know that I'm going to need 12.9 ounces. I've got my scale set to ounces. Make sure it tears out to 0. So sometimes it gets a little bit funky adjusted, in which case we're just going to hit tear to 0 out the scale. Now I have my unbromated flour. If you live on the northeastern coast, you have Wegmans and their regular flour is unbromated. Otherwise, I find some organic brands and stuff like King Arthur or whatever. But this one is fine, and it also is much cheaper than some of the organic ones. For organic, get organic. So I'm just going to use my spoon out. It's going to be a lot because it equals the 3 cups. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close up the lid on that flour. Don't want to leave that sitting out. And I'm not going to need this scale again for this recipe. I decided I want to use up some cocoa powder, so I'm actually going to add a little bit of cocoa powder to this. Don't be afraid of it. I'm going to add maybe that much, maybe a little more. It's about a 1/4 cup. It's going to give us a chocolatey chocolate chip. We need 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I like pink salt. Some sea salts have microplastics. 1/2 teaspoon. Don't get any clumps in it. Okay, and then a teaspoon of baking soda. I don't feel like dirtying up another utensil, so I'm just going to do 2 of my 1/2 teaspoon. You can sift it too if any of your ingredients are too clumpy, especially the cocoa powder. Just sift it with a mesh strainer. Okay, so I've got my butter here. Some of it was hardened and I kind of melted it a little bit on accident in the microwave, but it looks like it's hardened up a little bit more. This butter actually has been sitting out, and that is what it means to have softened butter. So when you let it sit out like overnight in the counter, unless the weather's really cold outside, it should get to be about that level of softness. So I have my 2 sticks of butter. I melted and cooled on accident, but at least I let it cool. I don't want it hot. It might change the texture just a little bit. Okay, and this recipe does call for brown sugar, which I don't have, so we're going to use my secret of molasses. So I've got my 2 cups of sugar. Then I use about, for 1 cup of sugar, 1 cup of brown sugar, what I need, I'll be doing maybe like a tablespoon of the molasses. 2 teaspoons to a tablespoon. Okay. Okay. Sugar and butter fluffy. So that's where you want it. Now, oops, getting butter droplets everywhere. Just gonna scrape the edges a little bit just to make sure we got all of it. Now I'm going to add in my eggs, but I'm gonna do it while it's mixing. So I'm just gonna put part of the lid on for this. If you have a KitchenAid, you're probably fine. So do one at a time. I'm going to crack my eggs in a separate container because I don't want to accidentally get shells in the mix. Okay, scrape the sides. You do the eggs one at a time to make sure each one is broken apart and mixed in thoroughly. you start to add them all up together, it may not mix as well. Now I'm going to add my vanilla extract. It calls for 2 teaspoons. Right now, I still have my half a teaspoon I was using for my baking soda and salt. I'm going to use it, so 4 of these. And I'm going to add them just as they are. Okay, start mixing that in. Now I'm going to add our flour cocoa mixture, but just a little bit at a time. Okay, I'm going to do some scraping. Now, during each stage of mixing, while the mixer is just going by itself, because I am not working with small children, every time it's mixing, I'm putting away all the ingredients back where they came from. Just makes it much easier to clean up messes. A lot of those dirty things that I'm done using, I put them in the sink, put a little water. They will go in the dishwasher before I start a load, but if you don't have a dishwasher, you put a little soap on them. Give them a little soaky soak. That way they wash up easier, which I do while they are baking in the oven. So this batter's looking pretty good. I'm going to add my chocolate chips to it. The recipe calls for 2 cups. So you can add more or less up to your own preferences, of course. Or you can add other ingredients too. Some people add like nuts and stuff to it. Although we don't have any time for nuts. We just want chocolate. Okay. Pretty sure I added more than 2 cups. I just did some handfuls because we like chocolate. Okay, for these sheets, we have silicone mats, so I don't have to worry about parchment paper or any oil and stuff. If you have parchment paper and not silicone, use that. If you don't have that, grease up the pan really good. You can use butter if you want. So I do not have a cookie scoop with me. It is still packed up somewhere in storage. I have a spoon. I got a spoon. I have 2 spoons. I've got big spoons this time because I want to make some big cookies. And they are going to be delicious. Full of lots of chocolate chips. So I ended up, actually because the dough is soft, taking my hands to roll these into balls. So we're going to have some really nice shaped cookies. So my oven is at 375. The recipe usually is made and the instructions for a smaller size cookie. This is 9 to 12 minutes. So I'm going to start my timer with 12 minutes for these and then we'll check and see how they look. I do like to have a more gooey center for the cookies. If you want them more crispy, obviously cook them for longer. But we'll check back on these in 12 minutes. I do actually have 4 cookie sheets. So while the 2 are in the oven baking, I'm going to prepare these 2. I do not have silicone sheets for these, so I'm going to use parchment paper. My little trick is I just spritz a little bit of oil on the pan first. That's mainly just to get our parchment paper to stick. It's pretty long parchment paper. Just place it down. If you want, especially if you think it's going to take a while, or let's say you only have 2 cookie sheets and you need to give the cookies time to cool on the pan before you put new cookie dough on it, you can put your cookie dough in the refrigerator because it does have baking soda in it and that's an active working ingredient. And when you put it in the fridge, it slows it down a little bit. Doesn't completely stop it, but it does slow it down. That's why you can buy refrigerated cookie dough at the grocery store, but you don't buy cookie dough that's on the shelf. I am actually going to be sticking my mixing bowl in the dishwasher, but when I filled it up with water just to rinse off the bits of cookie dough in it, I did add a little soap. That's just so it can help loosen up some of the fats and butter because I don't want too much oil to be in the dishwasher and it can actually eventually like clog it up or kind of get all over the sides and make everything in there greasy instead of clean like it's supposed to be. It's actually been 13 minutes this has been sitting in here and those look good. But I don't think they're quite done. Let me see. They definitely look very gooey. The edges, you can see the edges are just a little bit darker. It doesn't jiggle when I shake it. I'm gonna give this probably 1 more minute. Let me check the bottom. Sometimes the top and bottom rack bake differently. Okay. Yeah, these same thing. They have a nice glisten to them. They smell good. When I can start smelling them, I know they're close to being finished baking. I do want them to still be kind of soft, so we'll just give it about 1 or 2 more minutes. Okay, my cookies have been cooling in the pan for about 5 minutes now, so I'm going to get my spatula. I prefer a silicone one, that way I don't scratch a pan, and plastic sucks. So I'm just going to gently, ooh, they come off really nicely, just like that. These are awesome. They feel just about right, but they're still warm, so I want them to cool completely. There's always that one person who comes up and wants to taste them to make sure they're not poison. Then they burn their mouth. So they're not poison, but they can still burn your mouth, especially hot chocolate chips. They are very delicious though. And look, my silicone pan, they just take a quick little washing, but my whole pan is clean. And I can just put it right back on the shelf. These are so cool. I'm proud of these. I haven't made large cookies in a long time. I'm not feeding a ton of people. I'm just making a few things for some friends and family. And right now, because I'm visiting family, I don't have many of my friends that do live here. So it's pretty much just my family that's going to be eating these, except my mom, because there is butter in them and she is allergic to casein. So she cannot have butter. I'll have to make her some that are dairy free. And those are pretty easy. Just do the substitute for the vegan butter. So you see the back of my cookies look good. Nothing burnt. It is slightly darker, so I know it's that golden brown look, even though I use cocoa powder. So because I didn't use a ton of cocoa powder and it's not a dark chocolate, I'm going to call these hot cocoa chocolate chip cookies. If you want to be fancy smancy, I guess you could put some marshmallow cream. This is the perfect size cookie for making ice cream sandwiches. Okay, to make our ice cream sandwiches here, we're going to get 2 lovely cookies here. I've got my ice cream. I guess what we had is Denali Extreme Maximum Fudge Mousse Tracks. It's got chunks of stuff in it. So I've let it be sitting out so it can be a little soft. I want to see, yeah. You want it soft enough that we can spread it. Ooh, this stuff got swirls in it. So I'm going to get a scoop of that soft ice cream. Wow. I did also grab a knife so I can kind of spread it a little bit on the cookie. This is so cool. You can make it as thick of a sandwich as you want it to be. So like that. I'm going to make a couple and I'm going to put them in a freezer safe bag so I can freeze them so that my dad can try some later because he's traveling right now. But this is going to be so awesome. Okay, he's got a glass of milk and a big cookie. We're going to taste the cookies first.
We'll try the cookie plain first.
Plain cookie.
They're so perfect right out of the oven. The chocolate chip just kind of melts in your mouth.
It's like a perfect cookie bite. That's like a magazine quality cookie bite here. And then with some milk.
I like to shake it a little bit. I like milk heavy cookies. That's good. That's really good. I think milk is best on them when they're a little softer out of the oven.
Yeah. I didn't make them too crispy. I like them to be soft in the middle still. So and I have some chocolate cookie crumble because I ran out of the Denali Mousse Tracks making other ones. And we're going to make another ice cream sandwich. Okay, ice cream going on cookie. All right, and mash it down. Oh, this is so cool. If you want to be like super crazy chocolate nut, you freeze them, and then when they're frozen, you dip them completely in melted chocolate and let them harden back up. There is our ice cream cookie.
Oh, I'm still finishing this other
one. Finish it.
I couldn't wait.
Chocolate overload.
I'll give it a shot.
Double chocolate.
It's really good.
I wonder if I can hear you crunching with the microphone. I hear the
It's good.
And that is hot chocolate chip ice cream cookies. Chocolate, and more chocolate. Hopefully not chocolate overload.
Hot chocolate ice cream. That's like an oxymoron.
Yeah, fair enough. cold chocolate?
Well, it'll go.
Frozen hot chocolate. I think we call those a frosty.
Mm.
So good.